It's time now for County-Wide, a presentation of Yavapai Broadcasting News. You'll hear about the interesting issues and happenings that affect all our lives. Here's today's County-Wide.
Welcome to the program. It is County-Wide. I'm Brad Miller, and we're happy to welcome a guest via Zoom today. Tony Sanborn is the president of ALECA, the Arizona Law Enforcement Canine Association, and they'll be doing a demonstration in Prescott Valley at the Findlay Toyota Center coming up just about a week's time away on Tuesday, July 23rd, and that'll be at 5 o'clock. It's going to be free and open admission for the whole family. It'll be fun, it'll be entertaining and amusing, and it will be absolutely educational. These police dogs and their handlers, you'll see some of the training, what they can do and what they do every day, what they're faced with out there in protecting and serving our community. So let's say hi to Tony Sanborn, president of ALECA, Arizona Law Enforcement Canine Association. Tony, good morning.
Good morning, sir. Thanks for having me on.
Well, thanks much. This is really interesting. And over the years, doing County-Wide, we've done this show now for about 15 years or so. And we've talked before with the officers and canine handlers, and we've had some dogs in the studio. And they're always welcome, but they're always fascinating to me. And it sounds like the demonstration that your organization will be doing in Prescott Valley on July 23rd is really going to be kind of an evening's entertainment, but very informative as well. What would you have the public, what would you say to the public to encourage them to come out and see you and your officers and the dogs doing their thing on July 23rd?
Yeah, no, you hit it. I mean, one of the things that is a part of our mission for ALECA is the education portion. That education is for the public. That's kind of what we really try to do most. And for folks that have been out before, because we've been coming through Prescott for this training every July, this is going to be our 23rd year.
Wow.
We used to go back and forth between Payson and Prescott for this event, but now we exclusively just go to Prescott for the past 4 years. So some of your listeners may be familiar with this time of year because you end up seeing a huge influx of police cars from around the state driving through your city. And so expect that again. We'll be there kind of occupying a bunch of the hotels there in the Prescott area. But yeah, we really focus on the education portion when we do these events. We want it to be fun. We're going to have, giveaways, and we'll be interacting with the crowd. But really, this is our opportunity to get almost like a town hall setting with the citizens and let your folks talk to us about things that they've seen or how we use the dogs in police work and what they're like at home, and any burning questions they've ever had about police dogs and why we use them, because this is how the public stays informed and feels like they're understanding what they're seeing when they're watching us work and seeing things happen on body cameras or on TV.
That's awesome. I want to go through, and we'll do it here before we wrap up, some of the specific drills or exhibitions that we might see. But I like to ask our guests, is there one thing that the public doesn't quite understand about police dogs and their handlers? Or is there a common misconception out there that people ask and you say, well, no, it's this way? There's always something that we think we know, and sometimes we're surprised to find out. Does your business and what you and your cohorts do have that kind of thing? Is there something that would surprise us to hear?
Yeah, I think what comes up the most is people see our dogs in work mode, and rightfully so. They feel like they need to stay away and be cautious around them, which is true. We have dogs that now we've bred for decades that have been told it's okay to bite humans, and that was bred out of most domesticated dogs, not ours. We kind of keep that going, and it's because they have an important job to protect us and to locate and apprehend suspects for us and make a situation safer. So when they're in work mode, yeah, that's true. Our dogs, it can be sometimes almost, I guess, shocking to the normal person to see how those dogs operate, and that's okay. But what they would be surprised of is the fact that the dogs we select are actually very social. And when they're not working, for the most part, with a few exceptions of certain dogs, they're actually very friendly. They can be pet. They come home with us. They're around our spouses. They're around our kids, and they act like dogs at home. And then when they go to work, we call it an on-off switch. That switch turns on and they go into work mode. And it's because they're well-balanced, well-trained dogs. There's nothing about the way we use these dogs that is violent or relies on aggression from the dog. When you see them working, then you see them apprehending. Pay close attention to their tail, because their tail's wagging the entire time. They're having fun. It's a big game for them. They're just playing, and they know they have a job to do, and they love working. Every dog we select loves working, but they have that on-off switch. They go home and they act like dogs, and they're relaxed and they're chill.
Extraordinary. Now, is it right that most of the dogs are kind of identified as puppies or very young, which makes sense, and then are trained, but well before you or any of the other handlers will meet them, and then the training kind of starts again with you and the specific the dog and the specific handler. Is that right? What kind of training? You're a police dog handler. What kind of training did your dog go through before you ever met him?
Yeah, so the majority of the dogs that are coming into the U.S. as police dogs, the majority still get imported from Europe, and the ones that are getting bred here with some really good kennels that are kind of coming up and starting to get very close to matching some of the European product. They do start as puppies. Selection is everything. This dog's going to have, God willing, a 6 to 8 year career, and you want to make sure you get it right from the beginning, that you have the right dog for the job. So selection is huge, and that's where that initial puppy selection comes in. Is you have these folks that have been doing this for generations over in Europe that know pretty early on, about 12 to 15 weeks with a puppy, which ones have that drive we're looking for. We're looking for this intense, abnormal prey drive. They just want to hunt. They'll literally collapse before they stop hunting. Very low defense drive, and what that means is essentially they have very little interest in their own self-preservation. They will go through fire, literally sometimes, to go apprehend and to take down their suspect. They have that prey drive is so overwhelming that it takes away some of that defense, that instinct to protect themselves. That's our job. We do that for them. And then play drive, because most of them are dual purpose. So we get dogs that we use for detection purposes that is really just harnessing play drive. We're playing hide and seek with the dog. We have his toy. If he goes and locates an odor and sits, and he's obedient and sits the way he's supposed to the odor, dad's going to pay him, dad or mom, with his favorite toy and play tug of war. And so selection is huge. And so we get those dogs initially. That foundational training of dog sport is usually what's happening over in Europe. And then we build on that. So once we get them, they're usually anywhere from a year to 2 years old, ideally, maybe 3 at the oldest. And then we select the correct dog for our agency, and then we teach them how to be police dogs. And that's a separate academy, usually in the neighborhood of 240 to 320 hours of training. That's exclusively just you and your dog learning each other, bonding, and teaching the dog police work. Because in a lot of cases, the dog has never been inside of a house. He's never been inside of a car. These are all things we have to introduce them to.
Really?
And basically use all the same things that they've already learned in that dog sport, the apprehension work, using their nose to locate human odor. But now we tell them sometimes you got to go in a car and do it, or sometimes you have to go into a building and do that same job. And once they get through that initial training, they're blessed, they're signed off, they're certified, and then we just have to go back and recertify them annually to prove that the dog is being maintained and is controlled.
How are the dogs that we might see, just stopped at a red light with the canine, and you see the dog in there with the patrol officer locally, say in our local communities? How are those dogs different, either in their training and their abilities, from, say, other service dogs like cadaver dogs, say, or dogs that are trained specifically to sniff out drugs, maybe not as much for the defense of the officer? Are they all in like different schools, if you will? Are they all trained differently, or is there some crossing and where each of them will know maybe a little bit of each of those things?
Yeah, so you got two different disciplines. You have dogs that are single purpose, and a single purpose dog used for detection. That could be almost any breed. You're just looking for a dog that has a really, really intense play drive. That dog that never quits playing fetch. Like you may have had a pet like that in your life, where if you start playing fetch with him, you knew that you better be in it for the long haul, because he was going to bring it back and drop it at your feet again and again and again. If you have that dog, it doesn't matter what breed it is. You can teach that dog to be a single purpose detection dog. And
Gotcha.
In that world, it's an expanding world. We have dogs that are working in the prisons that locate cell phones, because having a cell phone in the prison makes you like a really important person, because you can communicate with the outside world.
Mm-hmm.
So a cell phone, believe it or not, that chip has a unique odor, and they have dogs that are trained to detect that. We have dogs that are being used now by our detectives to locate hard drives. like in forensics, as far as like fraud cases and sex crimes cases. They're locating hard drives hidden in houses with the evidence on it.
Wow.
We have obviously bomb dogs. You got narcotics detection dogs, the cadaver dogs, like you mentioned. That's just an extremely high play drive. You teach the dog the odor, and then when you select the right dog, they'll literally drop before they stop hunting for that odor because they're driven to go find it so much. Now you get into that dual purpose world or just pure apprehension. That's a little bit more unique category, right? You're selecting a certain type of breed, a dog that has that extremely high prey drive, an unnatural amount of courage. That's one of the unique things about the dogs that do apprehension work is it's completely unnatural, the level of courage they have. Believe it or not, most dogs tend, even in the wild, you look at wolves, they don't see human as prey. They don't see human as a good fight, right? They tend to look at us and say, I'm not sure about that, but I don't think I can win. And dogs don't have pride. They'll shy away from a fight if they think they can't win. So we're selecting dogs that their courage level is really sort of unnatural. It's almost a mutation. And that's what we continue to breed in these dogs, is the dogs that have the highest level of courage that we know will encounter a man, will engage in a fight with a violent felon and stay engaged while we all work to apprehend the person safely. That's what's unique about the dogs we use for apprehension work.
Wow. Extraordinary. I could talk about this all day, but we do need to move along. We need to take just a short break. When we come back, we'll talk with our guest, Tony Sanborn, president of ALECA, the Arizona Law Enforcement Canine Association, going to do a terrific demonstration at Prescott Valley at the Findlay Toyota Center. On July 23rd, we'll talk about what we'll see when we attend that free event as we return to Countywide right after this.
Life changes, then it changes again. Predicting the unexpected in life is impossible. That's why it's called unexpected. So when it comes to financial goals, our philosophy is don't predict, prepare. Hi, I'm Edward Jones financial advisor Matthias Sandoval. A job loss, change in health, or a loss of a loved one can have a big impact on your family's financial security. Let's work together to help make sure you're equipped for life's unexpected events. Call our office to schedule a face-to-face appointment.
Edward Jones, making sense of investing. Member SIPC.
Verde Solaire, your hometown heating, air conditioning, and plumbing company in the Verde Valley. And your trusted North Central Arizona Goodman dealer. Goodman is a name you can trust with the revolutionary Comfort Bridge technology factory installed into select Goodman gas furnaces and air handlers to ensure the entire system operates at peak energy efficient performance. Verde Solaire offers free in-home estimates, locally owned and operated since 1983. Visit them at verdesolaire.com. Better, cleaner, faster.
This is Andy Grosetta, Grosetta Ranches. I am a third-generation rancher whose family was one of the pioneer mining and ranching families in north central Arizona. The Verde Valley is a special place I grew up and my wife and I raised our family. I wanted to keep the Verde Valley special. That's why I'm voting to re-elect Supervisor Donna Michaels. Supervisor Michaels is always ready to listen, discuss, and problem-solve any issue that concerns her constituents in the Verde Valley. Personally, I have worked with Supervisor Michaels on many issues involving healthcare in northern Arizona and grazing and off-highway vehicle issues on forest lands. I admire Supervisor Michaels because she doesn't hesitate to work across party lines to get things done. Her goal is simple: base decisions on input from residents and what's best for them and the Verde Valley, not special interests. Supervisor Michaels is a strong leader who seeks resolutions that work for the people she represents, and I am proud to support her for re-election.
Paid for by Donna Michaels for Supervisor Campaign Committee, authorized by Donna Michaels.
Let's talk. That's the message from Jonna Randall Murdoch, your local Farm Bureau agent, providing a personal touch when making insurance and financial decisions. Jonna will simplify your insurance needs while offering competitive pricing. Let's talk auto, home, life, and farm. Call Jonna at Farm Bureau today at 928-649-8686. Your Cottonwood Farm Bureau property and casualty insurance company. At Farm Bureau, they insure more than just farms.
We welcome you back to the program. I'm Brad Miller. It's Countywide. Again, our guest via Zoom today is Tony Sanborn, president of ALECA, the Arizona Law Enforcement Canine Association, the handlers of those police dogs that serve and protect our community, along with the various police agencies. And they'll be back in Prescott Valley again, an annual visit, and it's so much fun for a fun family event and an educational event. It is free admission July 23rd, Findlay Toyota Center at 5 p.m. Come out, see these dogs doing what they were trained to do as they work with their handlers to demonstrate for us. And Tony, if you could tell us some of the things that we'll kind of see, maybe some of the more interesting, I don't even know what to call them, exhibitions or demonstrations, whatever it is, it's these dogs on the job, and we'll get to see it right up close.
Yeah, no, we have a fun event planned. It's always great every year that we come up, and we're always feeling so welcome by the local folks up there in Prescott. They love coming out to the event, really cheering on what we're doing. So it's always a good time, but we've changed the format up a little bit this year. So in previous years, it was, an hour and a half's worth of Q&A, some interacting with the crowd, and then we do mainly just demonstrations. And this year we switched it up. We wanted to offer something new, especially for those folks that come out every year. We're still going to have our trailer out there with all the cool canine shirts and stuffed dogs and cups and everything like that. But we wanted to make it almost like a mini canine competition. So one of the other public events that our organization, that ALECA, does is in October, we do the Desert Dog Canine Trials and Public Safety Expo down in Westworld. And that's basically a competition amongst all the different police agencies to see who's basically training the best and has the best dogs. It's a friendly competition, but we decided this year we'd almost create like a mini canine trials for the folks up there to come out and cheer us on. So you'll have your local Prescott and Prescott Valley dogs and Yavapai County canines that'll be out there competing, but then we'll also have some Valley canines and other canines from around the state that'll also be out there basically encountering obstacles and the decoys, which are the guys in the big puffy suit. And we're going to show the control work that we do, that we send dogs to go bite, release, come back, help us apprehend a suspect from maybe a different angle and or attack on handler. So just demonstrating some of the ways we use the police dogs, but in a fun sort of competitive competition setting, I guess. So, it'll make it more fun for the crowd, because I think everybody will be out to cheer on their local heroes. And then we'll see who comes out on top. It'll be just a fun competition, nothing big.
It sounds great, and it sounds again very, very informative. It always amazes me because a lot of times with the police dogs that are trained in taking down a suspect, the critical job that they have. I mean, an officer, typically that's going to happen. That door's going to get popped, and that dog's going to come out because the officer is in trouble. And it's just extraordinary what an extraordinary responsibility that dog has. Do you think that in some way the dog understands his important role in a situation like that? Do they get it?
That's an interesting question. I think in a lot of cases we tend to here's a good Scrabble word for you and your listeners: anthropomorphize. Right?
Yeah,
we try to provide or put human emotions into the dogs. And over the years, we as handlers, we caution ourselves to not do that, to think what the dog might be thinking or feeling,
right?
Because they're pretty simple animals. But the truth is, when you watch them sometimes and they go out and they either they're working in the real world or in a training environment and they do what they're supposed to do, and they do it really well. Because that's what it is with these dogs, right? We train all the time, and occasionally the dogs do well, and other times they struggle. But when they do well, it does look like their chest is puffed out a little bit.
It does.
It does look like they're walking a little taller.
It's like, look what I did.
I think they get it, honestly. Yeah, at 14 years on the job now, doing canine, 20 years in policing, 14 years in canine, I've noticed now over the years, after training a bunch of dogs, that I think they do get it. When dad's happy or mom is happy and cheering them on after they've done something right, it looks like they're just walking a little bit taller. They got a little bit of a swagger to their walk. So yeah, I think they get it. They know, they understand that their job's important, and when they do it right, I think they feel a little bit of extra, I guess we just call it happiness.
Yeah, there is. Anybody who owns a pet, anybody who owns a dog certainly knows that they do have emotions, and that they do have perhaps even feelings. And those police dogs, we did a demonstration some years ago where our newsman was in the bite suit, and the dog came after him, and he said, "Boy, there's no sensation like that, knowing that this guy's going to get you and he's going to do his job, and you don't have much of a chance." I know I talked to one canine handler some years ago, and she said, I was on patrol one time, and we had a guy, and we pulled our guns on him. We didn't have to shoot, and he kept running. But another time when I had the police dog, I said, I'm going to send the dog, and he gave right up. The guy's not afraid of a gun, but he's afraid
Oh,
of that dog. I'll never forget that story.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, they're an incredible psychological tool for us. I mean, we get way more surrenders than we ever get apprehension and bites.
That's
Like
what you want.
The idea that the dog is being sent makes people give up, for sure.
We can't imagine getting shot, perhaps, unless it's happened to us. We can all imagine what it's like getting bit by a dog. Let's take a short break, and when we come back with Tony Sanborn ALECA, the Arizona Law Enforcement Canine Association is coming to town, Prescott Valley at the Findlay Toyota Center. Free admission for this night of demonstration and excitement and information, July 23rd, 5 p.m. We'll talk a bit more about that when we come back to Countywide right after this.
Life changes, then it changes again. Predicting the unexpected in life is impossible. That's why it's called unexpected. So when it comes to financial goals, our philosophy is don't predict, prepare. Hi, I'm Edward Jones financial advisor Matthias Sandoval. A job loss, change in health, or a loss of a loved one can have a big impact on your family's financial security. Let's work together to help make sure you're equipped for life's unexpected events. Call our office to schedule a face-to-face appointment.
Edward Jones, making sense of investing. Member SIPC.
Verde Solaire, your hometown heating, air conditioning, and plumbing company in the Verde Valley, and your trusted North Central Arizona Goodman dealer. Goodman is a name you can trust with the revolutionary Comfort Bridge technology, factory installed into select Goodman gas furnaces and air handlers to ensure the entire system operates at peak energy efficient performance. Verde Solaire offers free in-home estimates, locally owned and operated since 1983. Visit them at verdesolaire.com. Better, cleaner, faster.
Hi, this is your supervisor, Donna Michaels. I decided to run in 2020 because Verde Valley residents' voices simply were not being heard. I ensured that your values were guiding the county's decision-making process. You also demanded action on implementing long-term solutions to secure your water future, to protect your public land through OHV legislation, and increasing road safety and easing traffic congestion. We advocated for access to convenient, high-quality health care we all deserve. I'm proud to share that together, we've made significant progress on these critical issues, as well as many others. Please visit my website, supervisor.michaels.com, and learn more about our progress and our accomplishments. With your vote on July 30, we will continue to preserve and protect our very special Verde Valley.
Paid for by Donna Michaels for Supervisor Campaign Committee, authorized by Donna Michaels.
Let's talk. That's the message from Jonna Randall Murdoch, your local Farm Bureau agent, providing a personal touch when making insurance and financial decisions. Jonna will simplify your insurance needs while offering competitive pricing. Let's talk auto, home, life, and farm. Call Jonna at Farm Bureau today at 928-649-8686. Your Cottonwood Farm Bureau property and casualty insurance company. At Farm Bureau, they insure more than just farms.
We welcome you back to the program. Again, it's Countywide, a special show because we're talking about an event coming up very quickly. Tuesday, July 23rd, Prescott Valley at the Findlay Toyota Center. Free admission for a fun night for the whole family, an informative and entertaining night, and a night that'll make you, I think, walk away feeling some pride in your local law enforcement community. You'll have a good glimpse of what it is they do out there on the street every single day and how the canines that are part of police agencies across the country are an integral part, a tool, if you will, a valuable tool in our law enforcement arsenal. So, Tony, tell me one more time. This is going to be fun. We're going to see it sounds like a number of different kinds of demonstrations and even kind of some competition.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So we're going to do open the doors at 5, have everybody come in and help themselves to some snacks and come grab a seat, and then the format's going to be fun and educational. We want people to come out, ask questions, interact with our hosts, our MCs that are going to be on the field. And then you'll get to watch our dogs in a competition setting, a friendly competition setting, where we're going to have different obstacles set up and challenges for the dog that are meant to mimic what you might see on the street. So maybe it would be a vehicle deployment like you see, high-risk stops on the side of the road. Maybe have a decoy, the guy in the bite suit, be put into an awkward position that the dog has to negotiate some sort of an obstacle in order to get to that bite and then release and come back. Show how much control and how much training these dogs have. That's one of the things we like to demonstrate to the crowd so they understand that that this is a labor of love, that we put a lot of hours of training into these dogs to make them so good.
Awesome. Going to be terrific. Can't wait. We appreciate the work that you do out there on the streets, but also putting together this program. The Arizona Law Enforcement Canine Association, ALECA is the acronym. Tony Sanborn is the president. And again, they'll be doing a big demonstration, multi-agencies involved in this at the Findlay Toyota Center. Free admission for the family, Prescott Valley, Tuesday, July 23rd, 5 p.m. We do hope to see you there. Tony, thank you so much. We appreciate your service. Thank you, sir.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate you having me on the show. We look forward to seeing everybody out there at the Toyota Center.
Sounds great. It's Countywide. I'm Brad Miller. We'll see you next time.
This has been Countywide. Listen in each Tuesday and Thursday at this time. If you have a topic or guest idea that you'd like to suggest, email us, news@myradioplace.com.